An anchor is one of the simplest objects ever invented, a heavy piece of metal attached to a rope or chain. That's it. Most people never think about it. It's not as famous as the compass. It's not as dramatic as the lighthouse. It doesn't inspire stories of exploration or adventure. But for thousands of years, the anchor was one of the most important technologies on Earth. Without it, ships couldn't safely stop. Trade routes couldn't reliably function. Harbors would become dangerous. Exploration would slow to a crawl. Entire empires would struggle to control the seas. Because before humanity learned how to stay in one place, the ocean decided where ships would go. This is the history of the anchor. It's something every ship carries, yet almost nobody notices. But the anchor helped build global trade, expand civilizations, and connect continents. Long before engines, radar, and GPS, a simple weight dropped into the sea gave sailors something they desperately needed: control. Ancient boats were little more than floating platforms powered by paddles, sails, and hope. Sailors could move with the wind, but stopping was another matter entirely. Currents pushed vessels away from shore. Storms carried them into dangerous waters. Even calm seas could slowly drag ships away from safety. Imagine crossing an ocean for weeks. You've survived rough weather. You've protected your cargo. You've finally reached a harbor. But the wind changes. The current shifts, and your ship begins drifting toward rocks. Without a way to secure the vessel, reaching your destination didn't guarantee survival. Many ships were lost this way, not in the middle of the ocean, but within sight of land. Humanity needed a way to hold a ship in place. The first anchors were surprisingly simple. Thousands of years ago, sailors used large stones tied to ropes. That was the entire invention: a heavy rock, a rope, and gravity. When dropped into the water, the stone increased resistance against waves and currents. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than drifting endlessly. Archaeologists have discovered stone anchors dating back more than 4,000 years in regions across the Mediterranean, India, and the Middle East. These primitive anchors reveal something important. The moment people began trading by sea, they needed a way to stop, because movement is only useful if you can control it. Over time, sailors improved the design. Instead of relying solely on weight, they began creating anchors that could actually grip the seabed. Wooden anchors appeared with additional structures designed to catch rocks, sand, and underwater terrain. These designs dramatically increased holding power. Ships could now remain secure even in stronger currents. The ocean was becoming slightly less unpredictable. As civilizations expanded, anchor technology improved alongside them. The Phoenicians, among history's greatest maritime traders, depended heavily on anchors. Their merchant fleets traveled enormous distances across the Mediterranean. Every successful voyage required safe harbors, reliable stopping points, and vessels capable of remaining secure while loading and unloading cargo. The anchor quietly became part of the infrastructure of trade. Nobody celebrated it. Nobody built monuments to it. Yet commerce depended on it. The same was true for the Greeks and later the Romans. The Roman Empire relied heavily on maritime transportation. Grain, stone, wine, olive oil, and military supplies moved across the Mediterranean on thousands of ships. These vessels needed secure ports, and secure ports required anchors. A ship drifting inside a crowded harbor could cause enormous damage. Cargo could be lost, collisions could occur. Entire shipments could be delayed. The anchor wasn't simply a tool, it was an economic necessity. Here's what most people don't realize. The anchor didn't just help ships, it helped create cities. Many ancient ports developed into major urban centers because ships could reliably stop there. Merchants knew they could safely unload goods. Traders knew they could store cargo. Governments knew they could collect taxes. Trade generated wealth. Wealth built cities. And behind much of that system was a technology so simple that most people ignored it: As shipbuilding advanced during the Middle Ages, anchors evolved as well. Wood gradually gave way to iron. Iron anchors were stronger, more durable, and capable of securing increasingly larger vessels. European kingdoms were expanding maritime trade networks. Merchant ships grew larger. Cargo loads became heavier. Everything required better anchors. A failed anchor could destroy an entire voyage. During storms, anchors became the last line of defense. When powerful winds pushed ships toward shore, sailors often dropped anchors in desperate attempts to prevent disaster. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But without anchors, many more ships would have been lost. For centuries, sailors trusted their lives to forged pieces of iron, and that trust was often well-deserved. By the age of exploration, the anchor had become one of the most essential pieces of equipment aboard any vessel. When Portuguese explorers sailed around Africa, they carried anchors. When Spanish ships crossed the Atlantic, they carried anchors. When merchants established global trade routes connecting Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas, every ship depended on anchors. Because exploration wasn't just about moving forward. It was about surviving long enough to continue, and survival often depended on staying put. As maritime empires expanded, anchor designs became increasingly sophisticated. The classic anchor shape that many people recognize today emerged during this period. Its curved arms and pointed flukes allowed it to dig deeply into the seabed. Instead of relying entirely on weight, it used engineering. The ocean was no longer fought with brute force, it was managed with clever design. By the 18th and 19th centuries, global trade was exploding. Ports became busier, ships became larger. Cargo volumes increased dramatically. The anchor's importance grew alongside them. Entire economies relied on maritime transportation. A single merchant vessel might carry enough goods to influence markets across multiple countries. The ability to safely secure that vessel mattered enormously. Then came steamships. For the first time, ships no longer depended entirely on wind. Engines gave captains unprecedented control. Yet even with this revolutionary technology, anchors remained essential. Because movement wasn't the problem. Stopping still was. Even modern warships, cargo vessels, fishing boats, and luxury yachts continue to depend on anchors. The technology has improved, but the purpose remains unchanged. Hold position, prevent drift, maintain control. Today, giant cargo ships transport millions of tons of goods across the world's oceans. Satellite navigation guides them with extraordinary precision. Computers monitor weather conditions. Engines produce more power than ancient sailors could imagine. Yet when those vessels arrive at ports, many still use a principle developed thousands of years ago. Drop something into the water, let it grip the seabed, stay where you are. Sometimes the most important inventions are also the simplest. The anchor never conquered an empire. It never discovered a continent. It never appeared in history books as the hero of an age. But it made all those things possible. Because exploration requires stability, trade requires reliability, civilization requires infrastructure, and for thousands of years, one of the most important pieces of maritime infrastructure was a heavy object attached to a rope. The anchor gave sailors confidence, confidence to stop, confidence to wait out storms, confidence to load cargo, confidence to build ports where none existed before. Most importantly, confidence to return home. Because before the anchor, ships belonged to the sea. After the anchor, sailors gained a measure of control over it. But stopping a ship was only one challenge. Finding your destination was another. For centuries, sailors crossed vast oceans without GPS, maps, or modern instruments. Yet somehow, they still found their way across thousands of miles of open water.